Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Be me and my two brothers. Be all in our early 20s. Be about 5 years ago. Decide to take the ATVs out in the woods for a few nights of camping and hunting. My grandfather owns a farm that backs up to mountains. Mostly it's private property there, so no hikers or recreationalists. No one patrols the area, so we do whatever we want up there. First night out, we come across a huge abandoned brick building. Collapsed walls and no roof. Looks unsafe. Decide to make camp outside. Later that night, we're telling ghost stories and Sean, older brother, dares my younger brother Zach to go in the building. After a lot of arguing, I end up tagging along. We can't figure out what the building used to be. No traces of a fire, but the construction seems modern for the past 60 years. Most of the doors are long rotted away, so we can check out almost every room. Pretty much empty, though some rooms have metal bed frames inside. No skeletons, no old torture devices, nothing worth writing about. In the floor of one of the back rooms is a door in the floorboards. Looks like a cellar that's still locked and we can't get open. We can feel cold air rushing out around the edges. A cave? I look at Zach, and he looks at me. Both of us hear faint but distinct noises like somebody muttering behind the door. We realize our flashlights must be visible on the other side of the door. The voices stop at the same time. We nope out of there. We rush back outside to report to Sean on what we saw. Sean has his .303 drawn and is pointing it into the woods just beyond our campsite. Ask what he's doing. Says nothing. Doesn't lower the rifle. At this moment, hear noises like a voice muttering just out of sight in the woods. Shine a flashlight, but can't see anything. The voice stops when the flashlight hits a particularly dense thicket of trees. Lower the flashlight. The voice starts up again, but louder and more insistent. Sean mag dumps in the direction of the thicket, reloads, and mag dumps again. When my ears stop ringing, I realize that either there's a lot of wind right now, or there are a lot of things moving out in the woods. Can't feel any wind in the air. Have the feeling that I'm being watched by many, many things out there. Hear an ATV being started up and the engine revving. Suddenly realize Zach is nowhere to be seen. Zach drives up on his ATV and tells us to get our shit together. He's getting out of there. Me and Sean don't bother getting it together and leave camp the way it is. Both of us mount our ATVs, stowing our rifles, and we are on our way back to the farm in the next minute. The engines are just too loud to hear anything else in the woods. We get to the second of 2 water crossings, and Zach's ATV dies midstream. The water is deep enough to almost cover all 4 wheels. First thought is that water got in the air intake. He tries to start it, but the engine doesn't even turn over. Water in the engine for sure. Moonlight is slightly shining through the trees, illuminating the stream now. We can see Zach's ATV right in the middle of the creek. As me and Sean dismount and are talking about how we're going to tow the waterlogged ATV out of the stream, 3 things happen very fast. We hear some sort of blood-curdling roar from the direction of the trail behind us, but very close. A small tree falls into the creek only about 50 yards upstream of us, not from the same direction of the roar. Zach, hearing and seeing the above 2 events, jumps off the ATV and tries to wade to shore. But because the current is relatively swift and the cobble-sized rocks on the creek bottom are slick with algae, he slips, hits his head on his own ATV, goes under, and the next thing we know, he surfaces a little ways downstream, floating face down. Sean jumps into the creek like a hero and semi-swims, semi-floats, semi-runs, splashing down the shallow waterway to save our little brother. It's at this point that I realize that the downed tree has been floating downstream this whole time. It collides with Zach's stuck ATV. Zach's ATV comes unstuck. Both the tree and the ATV drift and grind downstream. Zach and Sean go around a bend and are now out of sight. I start up my ATV and drive downstream along the shore toward them. Long story short, my ATV now gets stuck in deep mud and I'm on foot, running and splashing downstream to where I think they are. Can't see shit except scattered reflections on the water. No flashlight. No rifle. All I am sure of is that the downed tree and Zach's ATV are still grinding very slowly towards me from somewhere upstream. Suddenly I come around a bend and see them. Both are on the same side bank as me, just close enough to make out what they are doing by the moonlight. Sean is huddled over Zach's body on a gravel bar, administering CPR. Don't freak out since Sean has been a lifeguard, and I know that Zach is in good hands. Suddenly I become aware of movement in the woods between me and them. Can't see shit in the darkness, but it sounds like a whole family of things moving slowly toward my two brothers. Try to call out. Can't. Voice no longer works. Devise a plan to creep out into the middle of the creek and float down to where my brothers are so the things don't see me. Try to put it into action. Hear rustling right behind me. Can't move. Something is walking deliberately toward me. Two somethings. Two bipedal somethings. One of the somethings touches my back. I jump about 10 feet into the air, slip, fall, float, flail, and eventually swim to the shore. When I look up, Sean and Zach are standing right there. I look downstream to the gravel bar I saw them on before. Nothing there. Sean says he pulled Zach out of the creek upstream, and then they saw me drive past on my ATV. They followed until they found it stuck on the bank, and eventually found me standing here. Ask Sean if he gave Zach CPR. Says he didn't have to. Zach hit his head, but didn't lose consciousness. Many things don't add up, but we agree to get the fuck out of the woods as quick as we can. Everybody piles onto Sean's ATV like we're some Asian family, and we eventually make it out of the woods and to the farm. After a few days, we decide to go back to get our stranded ATVs and abandoned camping gear. We start out very early in the morning, so as not to end up anywhere after dark, and we all go heavily armed and with lots of heavy rope for towing stuck ATVs. Can't find either ATV, but when we get to the campsite, all of our gear is packed up neatly and considerately in a big pile. It's broad daylight, but we all have the distinct feeling we're being watched. We pack up the gear and nope the hell out of there, and never go back. 5 years wasn't that long ago, and we talk about going back there all the time, but to this day, none of us has ever had the balls to seriously propose a trip back there.
Be tactically exploring the woods of Indiana with a neighbor. Get to a neighborhood. Neighbor leaves because he had shit to do. I decide to go back the way I came and look for the old farmhouse that used to be there before the land started getting developed. Couldn't find it, so I decide to go back home. Accidentally take a turn and end up going the wrong way. Find the old foundation of the house, filled with leaves and shit. Farm equipment and a grain silo nearby. I don't touch any of it because of snakes. About 50 yards away, I can see a girl watching me. I know I'm trespassing on someone's property, so I assume it's their daughter. No idea where I am, so I just keep walking. End up in a cornfield. I know the road is nearby, so I decide to go through it. By now it's starting to get dark. I remember the scene from Signs when Mel Gibson sees the alien in the cornfield. Start walking faster. Shit is moving around now. Hear weird squabbling. Probably ended up being my imagination. But I freaked out. Broke into a run. Come out next to the owner's house. I can see the road from there, so I decide to go for it. He happens to be outside. Comes over to me. Tells me to get off his property and that I'm a liability. Say that the road is right there and I'll be on my way. Nope. Go back the way you came. God damn it. End up going back into the corn, but stayed close enough that I knew where the road was. It's now dark. Luckily, I brought a flashlight. End up getting home. Ended up smashing that guy's mailbox for being an asshole.
B15. Scandinavian Scout, blue. November. Massive hike called Nighthike. Over the course of a weekend, you need to walk 80 kilometers with 40 pounds of gear through mixed terrain, while seniors, 16 and older, hunt you. If you're caught, they can do evil shit to you, like strip you down to your underwear, take your tarp, empty all of your rucksacks into the tarp along with your clothes, mix it all together, make you carry the tarp for about 2 kilometers, and then ask you to pack it all together. Start off Friday from an old cement plant. My group leaves early, consisting of me, 2 guys, and 1 girl. We walk through the night. Around 3 a.m., we spot a senior encampment at a farm. We go into the trenches along the fields and sneak past them. Countryside, no clouds and full moon, so extremely good visibility. As we get up from the fields onto a stretch of road, we get busted by a group of 3 seniors hiding tactically. We bribe them with chocolate and get let go after 10 push-ups. Moving on. Not even an hour later, we get busted by a senior patrol on bikes. They're part of a larger group. They bring us to their leader. They've rounded up about 5 other hikers that they've busted, many of which had been subjected to the evil punishment listed above. Apparently, the girl in my group knew their leader, so we negotiated and ended up not having to do anything other than being led somewhere we didn't know and had trouble finding on the map. Got back on track after some navigation. We find the edge of a forest around 5 a.m. Saturday and decide to set up camp and get some needed sleep and food. At 7 a.m. we're awoken by a bullhorn, a group of seniors again, told to quickly pack our stuff, led through the forest, rounded up with other groups, morning gymnastics and other stuff, finally let go, march about 5 kilometers and find a place to make breakfast at. From there on, we planned a route to take us far away from main roads and through woodland to avoid detection. Walk the whole day. Don't even stop for lunch. Munch fruit sugar tabs to get energy. Reach an outpost required to stop by at. Forced to carry logs and do other shit since it was a pioneer-themed hike. Eat something quick, apply a support bandage to my knee, move on. Walking through the Scandinavian lowlands, fucked up from aching muscles and sleep deprivation, somehow made it all that much more beautiful. I don't remember much from here on, only a lot of marching. Around dusk, we realize that we're lost. Manage to find out where we are and that we're 10 kilometers off course. Go onto a road until we're back en route, since the seniors would not be where we were. Encounter a farm. Knock on the door to get our water reserves resupplied. Friendly folks also give us some fruit and crackers. When we get back to where we should be, it's dark. Around 10 p.m. Saturday, seniors hadn't slept since Thursday. Many hikers hadn't either. People were just walking along now like zombies, no one bothering to stop anyone or be stopped. At 2 a.m. Sunday, we reach the final post. Fall asleep. Wake up at 7 a.m., got my night hike mark. Don't remember how I got home. And that, my friends, is how I learned how to operate.
Finland isn't very haunted, in my opinion. I guess there are the stories of old cottages and mansions having haunts, but that shit is probably just legends. I have one personal experience, though. There's this outdoor peninsula area near the river mouth. Joensuu literally means just that, where there used to be an Orthodox rectory in the 17th century. Nowadays, there's no sign of the building, lost in time and all that. No one even knows where exactly it stood, but there's this old shrine erected for its honor in the middle of the place. It's a pretty beautiful location. good for jogging, fishing, and walking your dog. Also, there's a rocky beach where people swim during the summers. Little did I know how fucking creepy that place could be during the late autumn nights. Wife wants to go for a walk into that place. It's 23 o'clock already. Ah, what the hell, let's go. We drive into the parking lot near the area. Wind is blowing like hell. Could be a storm is coming. Oh, yeah, wife loves storms. Gets in a really good mood. Maybe we can watch it from the rectory shore. It's dark when we finally get there. We're almost wussing out in the parking lot. Wind blows like hell. We step out of the car. Even from the parking lot, we could sense the goddamn woods did not want us there. Very ominous feeling ensues. We decide to go to the shore anyway. You have to walk through some dense wood path to get to the shore from the parking lot. No one else in sight. Well, it's very late. Get to the nettle bushes, where you can see the shore already. In the darkness, I can see a silhouette of a person against the lake shore. Just stands there, alone. No fishing pole. Maybe he's some kid sulking, I don't know. There were no other cars, no bikes in the lot. Think nothing of it. Look again. He's gone. We're almost through the nettle bushes when we hear a strange, inhuman shriek coming from only some meters from us behind the heavy bushes. Wife is scared shitless. Voice sounds very threatening. Not an animal. Seen and heard a lot of those too. Didn't sound human either. We back up slowly, watching the bush. Something lunges at us from the bushes. Only see something white coming at us. We hit it and run 90 miles per hour out of the woods. Run into the car and gasp for air. What the hell was that? Wife screams. Shit if I know. What kind of a fucking loon would hide in the nettle bush? We drive out of there. Hear later from some old folks about the place being haunted. It's literally called Vainoniemi, which means something like Cape of Persecution. Maybe it was an animal anyway, but that whole area is pretty much surrounded from afar with an industrial harbor and some housing areas. There's no report of bigger mammals being seen there.
Be young and mostly inexperienced in the woods horseshit probably 20 years ago. Be out in the woods in a national park camping with 2 buddies. Be armed with several firearms. Shh. Don't tell. Spend 3 days out in the rough with no incidents. Caught lots of fish. Didn't see anything out there that walked on 2 or 4 feet. 4th night. Hear scrabbling and rough noises near the campsite. Next morning. Find all sorts of tracks that encircle the campsite. Mostly deer and some odd tracks that look like a predator. A park ranger comes through the camp and warns us to not use plastic bags for trash, but to bury or burn it as long as it is organic. Keep the rest of the shit in the truck. Several sightings of a mountain lion who has come down from the hills and is prowling local camps. Day 6 and we find portions of a deer carcass, blood, and a lot of broken branches and shit about 50 yards from our camp. Night of day 6, we hear more scrabbling and even something like a growl. Flashlights go on. Everybody has either a pistol or a shotgun in their hand. See glowing eyes. They blink once, then disappear. Nope, 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 nope. As we were noping back to the truck and noping out of there, hear another growl right next to the truck. Get in the truck, lock doors, turn the truck on, and start driving. On the dirt path, see one mountain lion right in the road, and sets of eyes in the forest on both sides of the dirt road. We managed to camp right in the middle of a mother mountain lion's domain, a few months after she had birthed a litter. To this day,
Even my house cat's glowing eyes sometimes scare the shit out of me if I see them out of the corner of my eye at the right time. Yet another stupid teen story from my youth. Be up on Lake Erie, spending a week in a cabin on Middle Bass Island, get wasted in many of the bars and wine gardens in Put-in Bay, decide it would be a great idea to go water skiing. Whoops, it's 7 p.m. and the sun is going down. Fuck it, let's do it. Hook up all the shit and take a shitty boat out onto the lake. The boat's top speed is probably 40 miles per hour without a skier. Get up on 2 skis and start skiing. Think it would be a good idea to drop a ski and slalom for a bit before it turns pitch black out on the lake. The boat cannot handle slalom, and I am basically being dragged behind the boat as I slowly sink. Feel something hit my ski, hard. Stupidly let go of the tow rope and yell for my buddies to come back and pick me up. Feel something strong bump into my leg, but when I check it, all I see is a scrape. The boat pulls around and my buddies are yelling at me to move my ass. Why? They tell me there is a cloud of spotted gar right where I am treading water. Some of them are at least 2 feet long. Nope, 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 nope. As I am noping out of the water, a gar has latched onto my bathing suit and we drag it into the boat. Fuck these fuckers, let's fish. Spend the rest of the night trying to catch gar and drinking more beer. We all pass out with 5 or 6 fish caught. Oh, they are still alive. Imagine waking up on a boat and finding a really angry predator fish who has 6,000 needle teeth and has not died in your cooler while you are hungover.
Summer, go visit my father's friends. I'm with my mother and my older brother. We're speaking with my father's friend's kid. They live in a wooden house, close to a forest. They're not isolated though. Lots of people live in the area. Have lunch and some small talk. Whatever. Decide to have a walk before the sun goes down. Older brother, the kid, and his mother join me. We follow the kid's mother because they know the area. Walk through the forest for an hour or so. Finally arrive at some clearing with a small creek and a wooden feeder. The kid's mother says some couple built the feeder to attract animals, and sometimes deer can be seen. Sit on the grass, hidden behind some trees to see if we can see any animals. Obviously not gonna happen. It's getting dark, so we decide to head back. 10 minutes in, it's completely dark, but the mother and kid have some flashlights. We're not scared. I'm actually enjoying the night walk. Suddenly hear some footsteps in the distance. We keep quiet. Not because we're scared, but because the kid's mother says it could be her husband and wants to scare him. Well, woman, you're stupid. You have your flashlight on. Anyway, it's not her husband. It's a random man walking in the woods alone and without any source of light. Walks very slowly and keeps staring at us the whole time. As we walk next to him, he turns his head to avoid losing eye contact. Older brother says something like, "What are you looking at?" The kid's mother tells me to look at him. Turn around to see the man walking backwards, still staring at us. The kid keeps pointing at him with the flashlight until the man disappears in the dark. Even in the shades, we can still see him walking backwards. We all start walking at the same time. The man didn't do anything to us, but he didn't seem normal. The kid's mother tells us to hurry up because she wants to go back home ASAP. Finally arrive home. From what I hear, that's not the first time the family has seen the weird man, and he always behaves the same way.
This is a true story that happened a few years ago. I won't greentext it because it's not worth the lack of detail. Also, I'll be going to bed after this. just finished a 12-hour workday, and I have another later this afternoon. So I won't be able to answer questions. I live in DeKalb, Illinois, home to NIU, Northern Illinois University. DeKalb has many small skirtings of forest and swampland dotted around it. Mostly, Illinois in general was marshland that was built on top of. This is why we have so many cypress trees, small forests, freshwater rivers, and very good soil. Well, in one of the forested patches in DeKalb, near NIU itself, an art student decided to go out looking for materials for a nature art project. She was never heard from again. An investigation went underway and eventually her body was found. Rumor quickly spread that those woods were haunted, that she haunts them. People would begin to experience deep states of paranoia, panic, depression, and even hallucinations. Wolves began to inhabit the woods, something which they have never done before due to the high traffic and noise volume of the nearby roads, college, and nightlife. People began to smell burning wood and flesh if they entered the woods late at night, as if a bonfire gone wrong was taking place. A deep, distant, yet personal howling could be heard, as you felt like you were being chased, even if nothing was chasing you. Me and my friends questioned this and explored. What we saw and smelled horrified us. We entered the woods in the early afternoon to get a good look at our surroundings with daylight. Nothing too strange. Some fallen trees and moss, but everything was natural. We came back later that night. The temperature didn't really change and there was no rain, so a fog was not going to set in. The deeper we walked, however, the thicker a fog grew, seemingly out of nothing, as if we walked out of our reality and into hers. The fog was eventually laced with mist that reeked of blood and kerosene. We pressed on begrudgingly, wanting to explore it further. We eventually came upon one of the fallen trees from earlier that day. It's easy to know which trees you have come upon because all look so very different when they fall. But it's not the fact we came upon the same tree that stuck fear and panic in us, but what had happened to it. The entire tree, its entire length and circumference was debarked. Its bark was peeled off flawlessly, exposing its bare wood to the elements. And what's more, the bark was nowhere on the ground. Despite being night, the tree was very warm to the touch as well. It almost felt as if it pulsed with life despite being dead. That's when we heard the cries of wolves and the rustling of the leaves behind us. Me and my friends ran out of the woods, knowing which way to go as we explored it prior. As we got to the street, we ran across and toward the McDonald's that sat there illuminating the way. We turned and watched the woods. What we saw is now burned into our minds, possibly forever. A woman wearing a gray hoodie and torn jeans stood at the edge of the woods, her entire body laden in dirt and mud, her skin thick and gray, her hair disturbed and unkempt. She seemingly glared at us from the distance as the fog literally enveloped her. The fog now reeked of smoke as if many houses were on fire one next to another. As the fog wrapped her up and swallowed her whole, it seemingly dissipated and she was gone. The night ended with wolves howling as if a new moon was out, yet there was not one. We later came to realize she haunts those woods. Either to protect them or to ward off others, we do not know. What we know is those are her woods now, for better or for worse. 3 of 3. With that, I must say good night. I wish I could stay on and speak about this, but as I said, I have another 12-hour day at my factory and I need my sleep. Hope you enjoyed it. If you don't believe me, try looking up the death. You may not believe the story, but you'll know the death was at least real. R.I.P. Antoinette Tony Keller, the student who was killed.
Happened a couple years ago. Me and my girlfriend are into hiking. Live in Texas, east of Dallas. Only real in the woods in Texas is state or national parks. Exhaust the small parks near us. Plan a drive up to a national grassland. Leave around noon or something. Arrive about 3 or 4. It's summer in northeastern Texas. The national grassland is kind of confusing. We drive around a couple of country roads before finding an entrance, which is a little spot on the side of the road with a sign. Nobody is around or driving by. We park, get out. Dead silence. So silent that if neither of us move or talk, I can hear the blood rushing in my ears. Neither of us really ever experienced this before, so we decide to start hiking. The silence persists. Don't see or hear anything that would be causing it. Walk about 30 minutes. Hear what sounds like gunshots. I was no guns at the time and not terribly familiar with the sounds of guns. Decide to nope out of there. I guess hunters were in the area or something, but that dead silence is creepy as hell.
First time posting this. This story isn't really spooky, but it's a genuine near-death experience, and it happened in the woods. So here goes. Be me, 16, in the UK. Me and 3 friends scrape together all the money we have and get another friend's older brother to buy us the largest amount of booze he could get. We underestimated how much booze this was. 3 crates of 20 bottles of beer between 4 of us. Being 16, none of us actually knew how much booze it actually took to get a person drunk. We decide to go to a little area in the woods nearby. We had previously decided to call Mordor. The sole reason for this was that you had to go past some huge iron gates and hop a fence to get there. You could not simply walk in. Once we got there, we started to build a fire and put down the beer, which we had managed to carry there without being stopped by anyone. Once we had a decent fire and a stockpile of wood, we started drinking. And continued drinking. We were drinking this shit like water. 60 bottles between 3 teenagers, one of us decided not to drink, is a lot. Eventually we realized this is what being drunk feels like. Start to slow down as we are all about 5 bottles in, and we aren't used to drinking this volume of fluid. Bathroom break every 10 minutes. Eventually, we come to the conclusion that we can't possibly drink all this beer. We also can't carry it back home as we burnt the crates, and our parents would find it. The rational solution is therefore to waste as much beer as possible. Throw bottles at trees, throw bottles at rocks, pour whole bottles on the ground. Whilst 3 of us were acting like utter shirtlords, the one who decided not to drink had been steadily building the fire. It had now developed from a campfire to a bonfire, about 6 foot in diameter and as tall as we were at the highest point. This is a big fire. We get the genius idea to throw in a bottle of beer and watch the cap fly off and spew beer everywhere. Boy, were we wrong. Contrary to drunk teenager logic, the cap is not the weakest part of the bottle. The bottle sits there and we all stand around the fire. About 10 minutes in, the friend whose brother bought our booze puts forward the suggestion. Maybe we should move back a bit. We argue at first on the basis that when the cap goes, it'll be awesome. He keeps on saying we should move back. Begrudgingly, we shift back about 5 to 10 feet. He tells us to keep going. We refuse. He manhandles the rest of us into a circle about 20 feet away from the fire, with each of us standing behind a tree for good measure. Almost immediately after we are all in what he decides is the safe position, there is a huge bang. The explosion spreads the fire into a circle that filled the area we were previously standing in. More worryingly, there are shards of steaming hot glass everywhere. Glass where we were standing, glass behind where we were standing, glass embedded in the ground a few feet from where we stood. Not a single scratch on any of us. We survived a bottle bomb due to this guy's insight. To this day, we still let him know that he saved all of our lives.
Hunting with my dad, grandfather, and great-uncle. We all split up but still stay in the same relative area. My dad and uncle are facing the same general direction. After a couple of days in the same spots, we start to notice stuff. Things are missing. Chairs are tipped over. Things are ransacked. Nothing really important is missing. During that hunting week, we see a guy in the forest from about 50 yards away hiding behind bushes. I don't really see it, but it keeps messing with my dad, grandpa, and uncle. Keeps sticking its hand out from the bush to see if they would shoot him. Keeps peeking its head out. This happens for about a week straight. One day, they see him stand up completely. 8 feet tall, pretty much a fucking Bigfoot. We all nope the fuck out of there. We come back the next day and all of our stuff is messed up. The tent is fucked up, food is gone, the campsite is destroyed, and chairs are literally just gone. Either Bigfoot was fucking with us or some asshole in a gorilla suit messed up all of our shit.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.